What's going on, people? This is Shok, and I apologize for the bright ass light behind me. But obviously, in this video today, I want to talk about the supposedly leaked clock speeds of the chip that's going to be powering the Nintendo Switch. Now, normally this just be another rumor. It'd be whatever. We could sweep it under the rug. But if you don't know, this rumor is coming from Eurogamer, and Eurogamer is, of course, pretty much the first major publication who started Switch leaks or NX leaks at the time. And pretty much everything they had said in that original article was pretty much on point. They leaked the whole, it's going to be a portable system, it's going to have detachable controllers, 720p screen, all of that. And it turns out pretty much everything they said was correct. Maybe there's one or two things wrong. I haven't, reread that article in a while. But for the most part, the gist of it, they pretty much nailed everything. So we know Eurogamer has legitimate sources. So that's why this particular rumor, or rather report would be a more accurate term, is pretty credible and I would say pretty trustworthy. So let me just preface this video with that. Okay, now with that being said, people did not read the full article. And you guys know me, I don't care about, damage control and Nintendo. I don't care about defending them. That does nothing for me. I'm pissed at them after Last Generation. Last Generation was horrible. Like it was torture as a Nintendo fan, and one that's not a drone, one that didn't come off the assembly line. Torture. It was just bad. Drought after drought. Hardly any third-party games after the first year and a half. We only got 2 major updates. The online was. But anyways, you guys already know how I feel about Last Generation, Nintendo with the Wii U, all that. So I'm just saying that to just put that out there for those of you who may be new to my channel. This may be your first video of you watching of me. I do not care about defending Nintendo at all. I'm actually pretty well known for attacking them. A large portion of Nintendo loyal hate me, as a matter of fact. Just letting you guys know. So with that being said though, people did not read the full article, because in that same article where they were reporting on the supposed clock speeds of the system, near the bottom they start talking about, but this isn't enough information to determine how strong the system is. It's just the clock speeds. We still need to know the memory bandwidth, the bus and all that, and we still need to know how efficiently it runs, all those things. But people just seem to either have not read that part or read it and ignored it and just focused on the raw number aspect. But Eurogamer themselves said, I'm surprised after explaining this in 2016, that you cannot use raw clock speeds alone to determine how strong something is. You can't do that. You can't say this processor runs at 2 gigahertz and this same processor runs at 1 gigahertz. So therefore, that 1 gigahertz processor is half as strong as the one that runs at 2 gigahertz. That's not how this stuff works. There's so many other factors and parts and components in a whole system that work together in unison that determine how powerful the system is. And that's just a fact, people. This isn't me trying to rationalize anything or damage control and defending. That's facts. And that's what it is. And I'm not saying anything new that other YouTubers haven't said, but I feel like maybe this stuff has to come out of my mouth, because maybe these other YouTubers get discredited because they're just seen as, Nintendo fanboys, Nintendo loyalists, whatever. And maybe, some of them are, definitely. But, a fact is a fact, regardless of whose mouth it comes out of. See what I'm saying? So maybe you guys would be more receptive if it came out of mine. But it's true. You cannot use clock speeds alone to determine how powerful a system is. So this whole 300 something figure that people are throwing around, it could be accurate. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying let's not take it as law for now, because it's only based off of clock speeds alone. And Eurogamer said themselves in the article, this chip could have a lot of features that are in the Pascal architecture, or is it Parker? Pascal or Parker, one of those. Because supposedly it's running Maxwell, which is the X1. Parker or Pascal, I think it's Parker. It's saying that it can use some Parker integrated features that they're going to put into this X1 based chip that is in the Switch. So we don't know. So kind of like I said in that other video I did, we just don't know enough to make these extra definitive statements about the system yet, except one that I'm going to make later on, but I'll get to that. But yeah, we can't use clock speeds alone, people, to determine how strong this system is going to be. It's not a basic matter of, 2 is half of 4, so if that's 2, that means it's half as powerful or efficient. That's not how it works. That's like saying, You know, 8 gigs of RAM is much stronger than 4 gigs of, you know, DDR4. Although DDR4 is a much more efficient version of RAM than, you know, DDR3 or whatever, right? Things like that. But anyways, moving on. And this kind of got buried under this news of the whole clock speeds and stuff like that. But I think it was pretty much actually the same day Eurogamer put out that article talking about the clock speeds. The Switch also got confirmed to support Vulkan. And was it OpenGL 4.5 or whatever, wherever the latest OpenGL is, the most modern one, it supports both of those things fully. So add that to the list of, you know, the top of the line Unity and, you know, Unreal Engine 4. This isn't, you know, guessing. This isn't wishful thinking. This isn't hoping or anything like that. But the Switch supports every modern API, and I think that's a huge thing. A lot of people are overlooking. Specs matter. I agree wholeheartedly. I've said that in the past time and time again. Specs definitely do matter. But what's even actually more important than just raw specs and raw horsepower is API support. And the Switch supports every modern API out there currently. If it doesn't support it, it can get the support. But it has all the ones that most developers are going to be using. There may be like 1 or 2 smaller ones, something out there. I'm not sure. But it has Vulkan, like I said, it has Unreal, has, you know, the latest OpenGL, all that stuff. It could pretty much run all the modern engines and APIs that these games are being built on. Add that to the confirmed list of third-party developers who are currently making games for the system. You know, and Trey said it himself, and I know, guys, it's easy to, you know, rag on Trey, you know, to shit on Trey, dislike his videos, whatever. You know, people love to hate Trey, but what he said was absolutely correct. Even if we were to take these leaked clock speeds, you know, as fact, and just use the whole raw clock speed, you know, division, you know, multiplication, subtraction, addition, you know, simple math, which you can't do with raw clock speeds. But if we were to do that and get this 390 something, whatever it was, G-flop figure, that doesn't make that list of third-party developers go away. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, like Trey said, you don't think these developers know the specs? They do. They do. It's not like Eurogamer put out this article and the developers are like, oh, wow, this system is weak. They have the dev kits. They're making games for the system. They know. They know. You see what I'm saying? So I just feel like, I just know, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. If this system was absolute, complete shit weak sauce, there wouldn't be that many developers on this list. And let me pull up this list here. Let me actually pull it up, just so I could like try to list everybody and not leave anybody off. Okay, we have Bethesda, who's like never made a Nintendo game in the last 50 years, right? Square's on the list. Take-Two is on the list. Can't remember the last Take-Two game that was like a, you know, big one that was on a Nintendo system, whatever. Epic's on the list. You know, Ubisoft, Warner Brother, From Software, Frozen Byte. Frozen Byte's on there. Of course, got Level 5. We got Konami. We got Activision. Bandai Namco. Namco's kind of always on Nintendo systems, so is Capcom in some type of degree. You know, Sega. And I think a couple more have been added on this list since then. That's not all of them, but that's just kind of like the bigger name ones. So it has these big studios confirmed making games, these companies making games for the system, and I just don't think, if it was really just this raw G-flop figure that people have calculated by doing, divided by 2 equals, which you can't do in the first place, but even if it was that, I'm not saying it's not, it could, who knows. All I'm saying is, regardless of any of that, forget what I even said in the beginning of the video about you can't use raw clock speeds. Let's say for one day we can. That still doesn't erase this list of developers. And it doesn't erase the fact that it's going to run Unreal Engine 4 and Vulkan and OpenGL 4.5. It doesn't erase any of that. So, and yes guys, specs matter, but APIs these days are a little bit more important than just raw power. Yeah, you need the power to run the APIs overall, but once you get that power to run the APIs, then the rest of the work kind of comes up to, you know, the APIs and the engine scaling, you know, and things of that nature. And and again, I'm not saying anything new, but I'm just saying maybe it has to come out of a different mouth. Going on with this whole API thing, we had games, next generation games, that still got ported over to the last generation systems, the PS3 and the Xbox, right? We had Tomb Raider that had an Xbox port. We had Far Cry 4. We had Metal Gear Solid 5, who had last generation versions. So, what makes you think that the Switch wouldn't be able to run these games when these games that just came out recently, right? These Far Cry 4, Tomb Raider, Metal Gear, these are not old ass games. When did Tomb Raider come out? Was it this year or last year? I think it was this year for PS4, last year for Xbox One. Let me see. Yeah, November 2015 is when it came out for the Xbox One. So a game just last year, a 2015 game, a 2015 next generation game was ported over to a 2005 system. Think about that. That is a 10-year gap. 2015, 2005. And it still came out for that 2005 system. Why? One, because the install base is there, of course. Two, it uses not the most modern APIs, but it uses older versions of the APIs we have now, So they were still able to even port that over. And so think about it, this is going to be a 2016 system that has the most modern versions of those APIs that the Xbox and the PS3 had. And the Xbox and PS3 still got games that were made for the PS4 and Xbox One. So what makes you think these games wouldn't be able to be put on the Switch? And the Switch, even raw power-wise, even if we were to take that G-flop figure that could very well be inaccurate, most likely is, but like I said, whatever, it's pointless to even argue whether or not it is. But even if we were to take that figure, raw, just spec-wise, just raw horsepower-wise, it's already stronger than the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And that's not including the more modern APIs. So the Switch is stronger than the Xbox 360 and the PS3 raw power-wise, and it has more modern APIs than those systems. It can support more modern feature sets than those systems, in addition to it being just more powerful raw horsepower-wise. So I'm not trying to get people's hopes up here or anything like that. You guys know me, one of the last videos I did talking about the Switch, I was like, neither side knows anything, so everyone just shut up and not say anything. But we've had, confirmations coming out, day after day of the engines that this game could run. We have developers saying things can get ported over easily. Michael Pachter said that he's heard from developers, and this is Pachter, he's ready and willing to say something negative about Nintendo system. He said he's heard from developers that the system is actually the easiest to develop for out of the three. Now, I'm not saying we should take that as gospel, but even if a few developers say that, we can take that as, okay, it's easy to develop for in general. Maybe not the best or the easiest, but if anyone were to even make that misconception or that opinion, means that it should be easy to develop for in general. You see what I'm saying? So the system is sounding pretty good, guys. We really haven't heard a single negative thing from an actual developer who is actually on that list. With the Wii U, yeah, we heard some good things from devs, but along with those good things, we also had some developers saying bad things. A lot of us Nintendo fans just chose to take the good things into account and just said, oh, the ones saying bad things, they're just haters, or they're not even making games for the system anyways, whatever, stuff like that. But I can't even think of a single developer who has actually said something negative about the Switch yet. While the Wii U, there was quite a few saying some things negative. There's just more saying things positive because they were actually the ones saying things positive actually had systems, on the games on the system. I'm about to say systems on the game. But you guys see what I'm saying. Anyways, that's getting into some other stuff. So it's gonna support all the modern APIs. It has a list of most of the major third-party companies, and keep in mind, Tomb Raider, Far Cry, Metal Gear, all last-gen ports, and even a couple more games, past that. But those are just the best examples because those are some pretty good-looking games, right? Pretty modern games made for this generation. All got last-generation ports, and those are 2005, 2006 systems. So what makes you think a 2016 system supporting the modern APIs wouldn't be able to run these games? So what does all this mean, Shok? Basically, what this means, and this is the one fact, this is the one thing I said that I was going to talk about later on. The one definitive thing we can say about the Switch as of right now is it will get third-party support if it sells. Period. Period, period, period. That is the only definitive statement we can make about the Switch. Because we have the APIs confirmed. And we have the example of last generation ports on the 360 and PS3. Why were those ports made? Because of the huge install base. So if the Switch is able to sell, it will get third-party games. Maybe not, the top 5%, bleeding edge ones. Maybe not. I would even doubt those wouldn't be able to come. But maybe, a couple of developers just make just some bleeding edge crap that is just not worth scaling down to the Switch. Notice I didn't say it wouldn't be able to run, but it would just be too much scaling down they would have to do to justify the port or whatever. But even then, I think that might be kind of stretching a bit. But maybe a couple games here and there. But I think for the large majority of the games that are going to be coming out from now on will come to the Switch if Nintendo provides the developers with a sizable install base that makes the ports worth it. Period. Period, period, period. Again, the reason why the PS3 and the Xbox 360, I keep reiterating this point so you guys don't forget it, is because the install base. The PS2 was much, much weaker than the Xbox. It was a lot weaker than the GameCube even, which was the in-between system. But, the PS2 still got all these games because, shoot, that freaking install base was lit. That install base was there, right? So these developers will go where the install base is. So if you have a system that's just not getting completely just blown the hell out the water, spec-wise and feature-wise, and the install base is there, they will put the games on there. So, like I said, the only thing we can really say definitively is that this is literally all up to Nintendo at this point. Nvidia did their part. They provided them with the chips, the modern feature sets, the support for the modern APIs. Nvidia did that. The Switch's third-party support is not going to come down to its specs. It's not going to come down to the hardware. It's not. It's going to come down to the marketing. For once in Nintendo's life, the hardware isn't going to prevent third-party developers from putting games on their systems. It's not going to be the disk space, because cartridges can go up to pretty much however high you want them to go. They have, terabyte cartridges, these days. Of course, they're expensive and they're not made for, the common man to just buy. But, you can easily buy a 128 gig, SD card, stuff like that, and well beyond that, but whatever, right? So it running on cartridges isn't a problem at all. I actually say that that's a benefit because you get much faster loading times and things of that nature. The games don't take as long to load, and you don't have to load so much, the game onto the system and all that crap. But yeah, the hardware isn't going to be the determining factor. It's going to be the marketing, and it's going to be the sales. So, and to just make this clear to the Nintendo fan base, I think it was kind of clear last generation, but this gen for sure. If the Switch does not get third-party support, you cannot blame the third-party developers. I mean, I already felt like you couldn't blame them with the Wii U, but this is like for sure, definitively, without a doubt, if this system fails, this system is all on Nintendo. You guys cannot outsource the blame to third-party developers this generation. You Nintendo loyalists, you can't do it. If this system fails, if it doesn't get third-party support, it is all on Nintendo. Point blank, period. But I've rambled on long enough, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll see y'all later.